So today we're going to be going over 5 alternative investing apps that you can start using that are beyond just the stock market. So what we're going to do is actually hop over here onto the screen so you can kind of follow along in real time with me. Now, I'm actually using the Money Made app. So if you guys are interested in checking them out or some of the apps we talk about here today, I'll link them down below. It does help support out the channel financially, but it gets you right into signing up for these different platforms. So the first one, as you can see here, is called Vinovest. So this one you can actually invest into fine wines. Now, this is actually kind of a unique way to kind of get into a different type of market that, again, is not the stock market. Now, you can see over here the investment risk is considered minimum, or medium, I should say. The minimum investment is about $1,000, so you do actually need to make sure you have some money available to do so. The target range is anywhere from 9 to 12.4%, which, of course, is kind of comparable to the stock market. But again, if you want to diversify, this is going to be a way to do so. And you can see the fees can be upwards of 2.85, which is relatively high in comparison to investing into something like an ETF. So keep that in mind. But again, you are diversifying your portfolio, which is always a fantastic way to go. Now, if you're curious in checking them out, if you click on the link, it'll go to this page. So make sure you click on the visit website to go ahead and get started with Vinovest. Now, the next one on this list is going to be with OTIS, and OTIS is actually the stock market for culture. You can buy and sell shares of collectibles, sneakers, and art. So this is a really cool way to kind of get into like collecting baseball cards or even some comic books and a whole bunch of other really cool things. So you're actually really diversifying your portfolio and investing into a lot of different things, like I said, such as sneakers or cards or even video games as well too. So this is going to be a really cool way for you to invest. Now, you can see the investment risk over here is medium. The minimum to invest on this one is only $10, so a lot of people can get their foot into the door with this one. The returns can vary pretty greatly, so they don't even have a range like it did with some of the others. And the fee is about 1.5%, which is, again, higher, but you are getting into things that are way different than the stock market, so you can expect some of these fees to be a little bit higher than the rest. Again, if you want to check them out with that link, you can click on the visit website once you go through that link for OTIS. Now, next up on this list is going to be with Fundrise. Now, Fundrise is a great way to get into real estate if you don't already have the option to do it yourself or getting into REITs in the stock market. This actually kind of just focuses all on the REIT side of things, so you can actually invest in low-cost real estate platforms. So this allows you to either focus on dividends, which is income coming in on a regular basis, or focus in on appreciation when it comes to investing for the long term. So you got a lot of different options. You can see here that the risk is really low in comparison to some of the other ones we talked about. The minimum says $500, but I believe it's closer to $1,000. But again, this money is working for you for long term. And you can see the rate of return is typically about 9 to 12%, and then the fee is about 1%. So a little lower than some of the other ones, as real estate is a little bit more proven for the regular, retail investor on there. And if you want to check them out, again, link will be down below, so you can go ahead and jump right to the website. Now, next up here, this one is going to be called Harvest Returns. This one's really unique. This is actually allowing you to grow your wealth with passive investment in farming and timberland. This is definitely a little bit different right over here. You can see the investment risk is really low. It does have a much higher minimum investment of $5,000. You can see the total return is anywhere from 8 to 12%, but it shows 0 fees, but I believe there are going to be some fees on the back end for you to be able to have this investment going, but it's low enough to the point where it's less than 1%. So you can see right over here the different type of benefits you can get, the type of returns you can be expecting, and what you're actually investing in and how much you can expect to have a return on there. Again, if you want to check them out, you can click the link down below and then click on visit website. Now, next up on this one is going to be with Masterworks. I've actually used this one a little bit myself to test out and see how it works. So you can actually invest in some really popular artists and into their actual art pieces. Now, you don't personally own it yourself, but you actually can own fractional shares of this art, which is really cool. So that way you can actually get into art investing, which has been proven to have really good returns for the long term. And as you can see here, that the investment risk is at a medium. The minimum to invest does say $5,000, but I've actually seen it where you can invest a little bit less once you actually get into the account opened up and actually have a conversation with one of the Masterworks people on the other end where you can actually sit there and have conversations and maybe let you get in at a smaller portion so you're not putting in a full $5,000. Now it says target returns right here are anywhere from 10 to 25%, so it can be on the really high end of some good returns, but you can see here the fees say it's about 1.5%, but I believe there are a few other ones in between as well that can actually cost you a little bit more in the long term. But again, if you're expecting potentially getting around anywhere from 10 to 25% returns, you might be paying a little bit more fees, but having a little bit more in your pocket in the long term when you're investing with Masterworks. Now, as I mentioned, I actually use Masterworks myself, so if you want to check out the process of going through and investing into art, click on this next video right over here, as well as checking out the links in the show notes down below for all the apps that we talked about here today.